Hello everyone, that manga kid here to do the Yaoi Readers Tag. This was created by Dynamic Dylan. His channel will be in the description. As of recording this, I've not been tagged by anybody to do this. I just saw his video and really liked the questions and wanted to give my responses as well. So I'm just going to get right into it. The first question is, what was your first yaoi, or your introduction into yaoi? And mine was actually, I was 12 years old or so, and I found these 3 volumes of manga at Value Village, and they were a couple dollars each, and so I bought them. The first is volume 1 of Shout Out Loud by Satosumi Takaguchi. This is all I have of Shout Out Loud. I've never gotten any more of it, only because I just haven't found it anywhere. I wouldn't go out of my way. I see it on eBay a lot. I think it's 5 volumes in total, at least in English, and I see it on eBay and stuff a lot, but I'm not going to go out of my way to buy it. All I remember is that I think it's has to do with radio or something like that. I could be completely wrong, and I just remember one of the guys kissing another guy while he's sleeping, and that is all I remember of this. I have not read it since I was 12, so that's 12 years ago. And then the other series was Menkui, and I only have volumes 2 and 3, and this is by Suzuki Tanaka, which I actually have another series by that I acquired recently that I really loved, and only after reading the back author's note did I realize that this is the same mangaka. Menkui, super generic high school boy, shonen-ai kind of series. Nothing special. I think it was Bizarre Individual told me, you're not missing out on not having volume 1 of this. Again, if I find this at a store like volume 1 of it, I'll buy it so I have the complete set and I can read the first volume. But I read these 2. It's not hard to imagine what happened in the first one, and it's super generic and nothing overly special or anything. It's just, it is what it is, and I feel like it has to do with body swapping potentially, or it's just a boy's love. I don't know. That just looked like a weird spirit situation that I just turned to, but maybe I'm just misremembering. I don't remember much of this at all. Again, I haven't read it as well since I was 12. But that was my introduction to boys' love. Question number 2 is, what do you love about yaoi? I love so many things. I like, similar to Dylan's answer, I just like seeing, men love another men. I really like how, even though it's over the top, even though there's a lot of problematic things that you could find within yaoi, I just, as a 12-year-old picking these up and seeing, these boys who are just exploring their sexual orientation, was just an uplifting thing to me. And any kind of queer media has always been, especially when I was younger, it was much more difficult to come by. And so finding something like this that was mine, that was nobody else in my family was touching my manga collection, and I was able to start kind of collecting some boys' love series and other things that just made me feel kind of seen, made me feel, I don't know, it just is fun. And then also, yeah, like Dylan said, of course, if you read yaoi as substantially as some of us do, of course you're looking for the smutty scenes. And I just think that I'm a very sex positive person. I'm in a lot of sex positive spaces. I volunteer with various organizations that focus on queer sex and positive education around that kind of stuff. And so for me, I have no shame or embarrassment about picking up these titles and being yeah, there's gay sex in these books, and that is so great to me that I can go to a store, or I can go online and buy these things and own them, and have it be something that some publisher, somebody who works at those publishing companies sees as valuable and worth it of their time to translate and print these physically. And it's not some secret thing I have to go in the back corners of the internet to find. these are things that like I own tangibly on my shelf, and I'm excited about them, and I can celebrate the fact that they exist, and that and not just illegally, right? Like, I don't know, there's just something about it that I really love. And I have them prominently, like on the front. I don't have them hidden behind my other manga, because all my manga is double stacked. Like, it's my yaoi section, my queer section. I have all my like girls love stuff there too, but is all prominently displayed. It's something I'm happy about and proud of, and I really love it all. Even the weird ones that are super old and they're like kind of cringy or problematic in various ways that you're like, oh, this is, I don't know about this one, but I find it so fun to pick up those series and read them and be like, wow, this was written, clearly 20 years ago. And it's just interesting to me, and I enjoy collecting those kinds of things. And you find them used a lot, at least in my area, tons, all the time. People are selling boys love stuff because it was, for a lot of people, a phase, and a lot of girls in particular, I think it's a phase of, we're going to read this while we're in middle school, high school, and then now you're an adult and you're like, wait a second, I have all this like gay porn in my room. I'm just going to sell it on Kijiji for like, $20-30 in a whole lot of them. And so I get them often that way. And I show up at people's houses to buy their collection of gay porn and in manga format. And I just find it very funny. I've had very interesting interactions with people buying their collections, or finding stuff at used bookstores too, where like the store clerk knows nothing about this because it's just a used bookstore with a bunch of other stuff in it, and they're like, ooh, what'd you find? And then they flip it open, they're like, oh, okay, well, that's great. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that's what I'm buying. I find it very funny, and I'm not ashamed of it at all, and I just love BL manga. I think it's a wonderful thing. And there's so much variety as well. Number 3 is, what yaoi surprised you in the best way? The first, I've got a few, like 3 different titles here, but the first is Yarichin Bitch Club by Ogeretsu Tanaka. I bought this because I couldn't not buy it. I saw this when it was first advertised, well before it came out. I ended up pre-ordering it because I saw the title and I saw the cover. And I went, I can't not own this. And I know that Ogeretsu Tanaka, like, I know that the art is great. And I really did enjoy Escape Journey. So I was like, you know what? I want to read something that is clearly just trash. Like, and I just want to enjoy the fact that it's trash. And honestly, like, yes, this is about an all-boys school on a mountain, and this photography club is actually just like they're pimping themselves out to the teachers and students. And these boys are just having sex with all the other boys. And a few of them are very much like super duper into it, and then the 2 new guys to the club are a bit more nervous about it, and they're like, I actually wanted to join a photography club. I didn't know that this was what I was signing up for. There's so much in here, but this is one that, like, I thought it was just going to be a joke. There's 3 volumes out right now, and honestly, I love it so much. It's so cute at times. The characters are so charming, even though some of them are nuts. It's just, I can't show you that. No, I can't show you much of anything in here. It's all horrible. But it's really cute, and the character development is cute, and like there's like little relationships that do actually exist, and you're like, oh my goodness, you're, loving and appreciating each other in a non-conventional way. And I can appreciate that. And so this one, honestly, I knew what I was getting into. So I went into it thinking it's just going to be trash, and it's going to be smutty, and it's going to be whatever. And it was all those things, but it's also really cute and sweet, and I love it. The other one was Ten Dance. This one has 5 volumes out currently. 6th volume is, I believe it was pushed back again, unfortunately. But this one is about ballroom dancing, and it's these 2 men. It is a super slow burn, and I saw this and I was like, okay, it's not rated M or anything. It's like 16 plus. I'm like, clearly it's not going to be super explicit. I didn't have much expectations for it, and I actually had it on my shelf forever before actually picking it up. And then I read it all in one sitting, what I have of it anyway, the 5 volumes. And it is so good. This is super sensual, super slow burning, sexual tension building, amazing, amazing writing, beautiful movement, fluid movements because it's dance. And it's these two men just like practicing their different styles of ballroom dancing together to get better, because one of them focuses on Latin dance and one of them is standard dancing, like waltz and stuff. And they want to do the 10 dance, which means they have to be good at all 10 different versions of sections of ballroom dancing. And so they each are like specialty at like 5 each. And so they're teaching each other the other 5 that they don't know. And it's just fantastic. And this is by Inoue Sato. Highly recommend it. There is a bit of an explicit part, I believe, in volume 4 or 5. So I can imagine that this will eventually get a bit more explicit, but for where it's at, it's not about a physical relationship in that way. It's about this like physical dance relationship and emotions, and it's just like mind-blowingly good. And then the last one that surprised me was Monster and the Beast by Renji. This one, I was expecting to like it. I wasn't expecting it to be so flippin' cute and so like, I think his name's Liam or something. Yes, Liam, and then the monster is Kavo. And I really don't like these like monster relationship, whether it's monster girls or whatever, but something about this art just like intrigued me and I needed to read it. And now I've only read the first 2. I know that volume 3 and it maybe volume 4 is out, but I only have the first 2. But it's just so charming. Like Kavo is such an adorable being and Liam is just he's something. Yeah. He's basically just like this self-centered, like kind of con artist almost. And it's a very European setting. He comes across Kavo, who like Kavo is immediately smitten with Liam because he's not afraid of him. Everybody's afraid of him because he's like a big monster thing. And I believe this will get very explicit, so I guess we'll see. But I'm just not usually into this kind of story. But like this is so funny and charming and cute. Question 4 is, what is an underappreciated yaoi? And I have 2, I believe. Yes. The first is by Isaku Natsume, Candy Color Paradox. I don't know if I just don't hear a lot of people talking about it. I see quite a few people like picking it up, but I feel like I've been singing the praises of this series. I just think that Isaku Natsume in general does really, really well at workplace kind of romance between adult men, and Candy Color Paradox is ongoing. How many volumes do I have? I think I have 4 volumes of it. Volume 5 recently came out. There was a big gap in between 4 and 5. And then I don't think 5 is the last one either. I think that there's more after that. It's just a very slow-paced release. However, totally worth it. It is about these 2 guys that work at a magazine or something. He's the photographer, and this guy is the, I guess he writes the stories, but they basically are in like the gossip column section. And so they do a lot of stakeouts and following of celebrities and various political figures and whatever, just to like find out if they're cheating on people or if they're in a relationship, whatever. They're doing like gossip mag kind of stuff, which is interesting and funny. And they both are not super interested in the work they're doing in terms of that particular department, but they're very passionate about what they do in terms of like the writing and the photography. And so it's just really cute and funny and sweet, and I think that not enough people are appreciating this series. And the other one, which I don't hear many people talk about at all, is another currently ongoing one. It's Koi Monogatari Love Stories by Toru Tagura. This is a newer Tokyo Pop release. Volume 2 is out, which I do have. I think Volume 3 came out recently as well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe not. I might be thinking of a different series. But there will be a volume 3. Like, volume 2 isn't the last one. I just can't remember right now. I know I don't have it. I only have 2 volumes. So if there is a third one out, I don't have it. The art is really interesting. Like, the faces, the eyes are very interesting. But I do love the art. And I thought this was a short story collection at first, but it's not. It's a really, really, really lovely story about this guy who meets this other boy in the class next door, and he hears that he's gay, and so he's a little apprehensive about being around him, but then kind of immediately is like, I'm being stupid. Like, just because he's gay doesn't mean he likes me, and doesn't mean it has to affect me at all. But he's kind of like learning about the trials and tribulations of trying to come out, because this guy is like trying to come out to some of his friends. He's apprehensive about coming out to his best friend, who is a male, who is straight. And he's just, and coming out to his family and exploring relationships and all of these things. And this buddy is like kind of along with him for the ride, but on the outskirts of it. And it's just really interesting, kind of different take on the stuff that we see, because it's a very slow burn. Like, I'm assuming that these two will end up together in the end, or at least end up liking each other. But like, it's super slow paced in terms of that. Like, it's not building a relationship, a romantic or physical relationship between these two. It's literally just building their friendship and building the trust and building, their characters as humans individually. And I really love it. I'm enjoying it immensely, and I don't hear enough people talking about it. Number 5 is who is the swooniest man in yaoi? Is interesting wording. I, again, have a few. One of them is from a digital title I read recently called A Touch of the Love Bug. And that one is, I think it's Media Do, has a bunch of digital yaoi. And the character in that, Renge, is just, he's like in his 30s. He has long, like, blondish hair. He's in a gang, but he's something. Another one is from Jealousy. This guy, Yuichi, is just, I don't think I have to explain this. I just can't handle this man. He's so gorgeous, and he's insane. He's insane, but like super alluring. Like, look at the way he just stands. He's just standing on the train, and I can't handle it. I can't show that. Yeah, he's insane. This is another Yakuza story, super explicit and super violent. But he's gorgeous. And then the other one that I really like is Minato from Therapy Game by Meguru Hinohara. He's like in his early 20s, I think. He's like 22 or something like that. But he is gorgeous. I love his hair. I love his whole aesthetic is just exactly what I need in life. Again, look at him there. There's a bit of a theme. If you see Renge from the other series I talked about as well. Look at this guy. He's got a bit of a temper. He's a little grouchy, but he's super cute and just super. He's just cute. There's something about him. Number 6 is my favorite trope in yaoi. I wouldn't necessarily call it a trope. I couldn't think of anything, honestly. I was thinking for a long time about this question, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a trope. But my favorite thing in yaoi is when, like, it incorporates queer culture, and it's not just literally, clearly a straight woman just like writing about two boys and has no concept or or care to add anything about the queer community at all. So we're seeing a lot more now, like queer culture kind of mixed in rather than just like focused on one couple and this is the way they are, but they're very much like, it's like a heteronormative kind of relationship, even though it is between two men. It's a heteronormative relationship that happens to be between two people who we're told are men. But some examples I would say would be another Meguru Hinohara work, the Secret XXX, incorporates, like, there's a drag bar. It incorporates like just this guy who's clearly been involved in the queer community for a while. And he's like comfortable with himself and he's involved with the community and he goes to these bars and stuff. And it's just like, it builds the world out is my point, I guess. It's not just like this secluded couple struggling because they're like, oh my God, you're a man and I can't like a man. It's like, no, there's a relationship, they love each other, whatever. But there's also a broader queer community that they're involved in. And I just really love when that happens. And another one is Jackass. Another Scarlet Barrico work. One of my favorite yaoi, just hands down. But what I really like about this one, all of the other characters, like this boy who is our main character's best friend and like childhood friend, he's a very openly gay guy and he just exists in the queer world and he's a bit more knowledgeable about it. And I just like his input in the story. I like the various different types of like the stages of coming out that all these characters are in and self-expression and identity and exploration. This one just like, while being like a fetishy type of, explicit story, also has themes of coming out, themes of internal homophobia and all of that kind of stuff that like queer people deal with, mixed into this like one volume, which is why I love it so much. So not necessarily a trope, but just an overall kind of theme that I really enjoy when it's included. The final question is, what yaoi brought you to tears? I have a few, and all for kind of the same reason. I've got Classmates by Asamiku Nakamura. I've got Go For It Nakamura by Sundae, which is, I'll explain that. And then That Blue Sky Feeling by Okura and Komohashi. None of these are inherently sad. Particularly Go For It Nakamura, which is a comedy. What makes me, and I'm not like bawling when I read these things, but I do tear up at least the first couple times that I read them, because it depends on the mood I'm in, but I just love gay boys or bisexual boys or whatever, boys who are just exploring their sexual identities and orientations, and they're just like doing it in a way that's really adorable, and that they're not like hating themselves for it, but just kind of trying to figure themselves out and having people around them who are uplifting. And so like in Go For It Nakamura, it's a comedy about him. He's not struggling with his identity. He's struggling to communicate with his crush, which is a super relatable thing. And I just like, I tear up when I read it because I'm like, you are so adorable, like painfully cute. And the boy he likes is also painfully cute, and he doesn't know if he's gay, and he doesn't want to say anything, and you just can't talk to him, and you're just like, oh, I feel you, man. I feel you. And that's why I tear up, because I'm just like, all of the little gay boys, same with That Blue Sky Feeling, like this boy who is, rumored to be gay, he's kind of struggling with his classmates not being accepting, and then this boy who's just like trying to be supportive, while also being like, what do I feel, right? Like, I've never thought about it before. I've always just assumed that women were the thing, but now I'm, exposed to this other option that I just never even considered because it's never been a part of my existence before. And not that being gay is an option, but the fact that like you can go so long without knowing that you are potentially part of the queer community only because nobody's ever spoken about it. You've never seen representation. You've never seen an example in your life of somebody else. And like sometimes those moments happen where you for the first time as a young person, you meet another queer person and you're just like, holy shit. Wait a second. That exists? Like that's a possibility I didn't even know, right? And so like that's kind of what this one is, and that's why it gets me to tear up, because like this boy, clearly he's like, yeah, I'm gay, I do gay things, but I don't want other people to know it, but they kind of found out, and now I have to deal with that. But also this boy being like, how do I feel about this guy? Is he just a friend? Do I like him? Is it okay if I do? Like it's just so, it just gets me. And then like classmates, same thing. These two are just like, they meet, they connect, and they're like, yeah, we like each other. Clearly we're together and we're kind of, doing our thing. And it just like, my heart just hurts because it's so cute. And sometimes it makes me tear up. Yeah. So not necessarily sad ones that I'm like bawling my eyes out, but just like, the young gays just get me. It just feels very nostalgic, and it feels very like hopeful. I don't know. I'm a person that cries when it's like a hopeful, happy thing rather than like super sad thing. But anyway, that's all the questions. I will also put the questions in the description as well in case you want to do this. I'm not going to tag anybody because I don't even know when I'm posting this video. And by that point, maybe everybody's already been tagged. I don't know. But if you do want to do this tag, I am sure that Dylan would probably be happy if you do. Same as me. I was not tagged at this point, and I just wanted to answer the questions. So thank you, Dylan, for making this tag. I think it is always fun to talk about BL manga. I'm always down to talk about my love of yaoi, and this is a fun way to do it. So thank you for watching. Thank you again to Dylan for creating the tag, and yeah, see ya.